Good morning, students. I'm going to take up a zoology topic today, and that is chemical coordination and integration. That is your endocrine system. Okay. So, endocrine system consists of endocrine glands, and these endocrine glands are present all over our body. Like we have the pituitary, the thyroid gland, the pancreas, the ovaries, the testes, okay, the adrenal gland. So they are all scattered throughout. Now, these glands produce a secretion, okay, and the secretion in general is called as hormones. Okay, the secretion in general is called as hormones. Okay, so now these hormones, okay, if it is the pituitary gland, we call them as pituitary hormones like TSH, FSH, LH. Okay, they have their own specific names, but in general, they will be called as hormones. Okay, from wherever they are secreted, we can call them as pancreatic hormones. Okay, and if you become very specific, then it's going to be insulin, glucagon, somatostatin. Fine, but in general, that term is hormones. Now, these hormones, that's the first part of our topic today. Okay, what are these hormones? So these hormones are, if we go from a via textbook, it says these are non-nutrient chemicals. Now, the understanding of non-nutrient means that it is not going to provide us any form of nutrition. For example, if we take in glucose, it provides nutrition. Okay, if we take in iron, okay, or any mineral element, it is going to be a part of our nutrition. But hormones, they are not going to contribute to any nutrition of our body. And secondly, they are chemical substances. So now these are organic chemical substances, and they can also have certain mineral elements. Like for example, thyroxine has iodine in it. Okay, so these are non-nutrient chemicals. The second part is, where are these hormones present? Okay, where is it present? Right. So we know, because we started, as we started, we spoke about that these are endocrine glands, and we know that endocrine glands are also called as ductless glands. So I'm just writing this in bold so that becomes very prominent, that they are not going to have any duct, कोई opening नहीं, कोई pipe, कोई duct नहीं होने वाला है. Okay, so these are ductless glands. So we have heard about, the endocrine glands are ductless glands, and they pour their secretion in blood. Okay, so ये जो hormones होते हैं, ये hormones कहाँ चले जाएंगे? They will be present in the blood. Now, blood, we know that there are two kinds of blood in our body. Like अगर हम एक rough classification लें, that is oxygenated blood and deoxygenated. So this is one of the questions that comes, in many books, this is asked. Okay, ये हमको पता होता है कि hormones are produced. Okay, hormones are produced by endocrine glands and they'll be poured in the blood. But what kind of blood? Oxygenated blood ki deoxygenated blood? Okay, so that is arterial blood, or is it poured in the arteries? We just put a query mark. Okay, or is it put in the venous circulation or in the veins? Fine. So let's just understand. So considering this is the endocrine gland, which is made up of many cells, okay, and each cell is going to contribute to the secretion. Okay, now we know that any given organ in our body, okay, will have a arterial blood supply. Okay, this is the artery. This artery is going to bifurcate to form capillaries. And finally, these capillaries will join to form the veins. So if the secretions, okay, these hormones which are present, if they are poured in the arterial circulation, वो पीछे से वापस हार्ट के पास नहीं जा सकता है. So the hormones would go into the venous circulation. Okay, so this is very, very specific. Hormones are poured into the venous circulation. From the veins, they will move to the heart. Okay, it is the right atrium, right ventricle. From the heart, they'll go to the lungs. From the lungs, again it will come back to the heart, and then it will go to all the parts of the body. So अब एक question है कि मैम the hormone is going to the heart, going to the lungs, again the heart, and then going to all the parts of the body. उसको कुछ होता नहीं है क्या? Absolutely कुछ नहीं होता. Okay, कुछ भी नहीं होने वाला. That hormone is going to remain as it is. Okay, just to give you an example, let's consider that I take up, blood from my from my elbow over here. Okay, so they draw the blood. From that same blood, you can estimate your TSH level, okay, which is from the pituitary gland. You can estimate your estrogen levels, testosterone levels, corticosteroid levels, thyroxine levels. All the hormones will be present in the blood, but they are not going to interact with each other, and neither they're going to interact with any other substances in that blood. Okay, वो अपना खुद ही रहेंगे. Okay, this is clear. So this was where it is present. The next topic is, what is the biochemical nature? What is the biochemical nature of the hormones? Okay, so that's the third topic. Now, when we talk about the biochemical nature of hormones, it means what is the, like क्या होता है उनके अंदर, whether they are proteins, whether they are fats, क्या है exactly होता क्या है उनके अंदर. So they are divided into 4 categories. The first category of hormones, okay, is they could be peptides, polypeptides, and proteins. Okay, so this is the first category. Now you have to really remember this very thoroughly. Okay, very very thoroughly. बहुत important है. बहुत सारे application based questions आ जाता है इसके ऊपर. Now under polypeptide and proteinaceous hormones, you will have your pituitary hormones, hypothalamic hormones, insulin, glucagon. Second category is amino acid derivative. Now, under amino acid derivative, we have adrenaline, noradrenaline. Textbook में epinephrine लिखा होगा. Adrenaline का दूसरा नेम है epinephrine. Third category is iodothyronine. That is your thyroxine, T3, T4. And the fourth category is steroidal hormones. Under steroidal hormones, we have estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, androgens, corticosteroids. Okay, so please ये याद रखना. You'll find this in your chapter. Now, यहाँ पे one thing is very important, just remember this one point. If I consider a pituitary hormone, okay, now let's consider FSH. Okay, FSH is a pituitary hormone. वो pituitary से secrete होता है. This FSH, okay, will act on the female reproductive system, that is the ovaries, and will cause release of estrogen. Okay, now estrogen is a steroidal hormone. Estrogen is a steroidal hormone. So now यहाँ पे ये समझना हमको that this FSH जो है, this itself is a proteinaceous hormone. Okay, वो खुद एक protein है, but when it goes to its specific organ, it can cause a release of a steroidal hormone, okay, or a proteinaceous hormone. तो ऐसा necessary नहीं होता है कि एक proteinaceous hormone when it acts on another organ वो protein ही बनाएगा, ऐसा necessary नहीं है यहाँ पे. It is something very very important. Next, and the fourth point that we'll be taking up is the mode of action कि कैसे काम करते हैं. Okay, that is very very important. Okay, mode of action के लिए सबसे पहले तो हमको ये समझना है there is a structure which is called as receptor. Okay, this receptor is present on the cell. अब कौन सा cell? Any cell of the body. हमारे पास जितने भी cells है, cells के ऊपर, okay, we are going to have receptors. Okay, now this receptors that I'm talking about is very specific, called as hormone receptors. Okay, so we're talking about hormone receptors. सेल चैप्टर में सेल मेम्ब्रेन जब पढ़ेंगे तो रिसेप्टर वाला टॉपिक आता है वहां पे. ओके, सो दिस आर हार्मोन रिसेप्टर्स. Now, these hormone receptors, they themselves are proteins in nature. They themselves are proteins in nature. It is very, very specific. Very, very specific का मतलब क्या है? For example, this is a cell and this is a receptor for, let's say, T3. Okay, I'm just giving an example. And this is a receptor for TSH. तो अगर TSH आता है तो TSH यहाँ पे जाएगा तो कुछ भी नहीं होने वाला है. TSH को यहाँ ही जाना पड़ेगा. Okay, to its receptor. मतलब it's like that lock-in की mechanism. TSH के पास ही होती है key of this lock. Okay, so this is very, very specific. Okay, body में okay स्पेसिफिसिटी जो है प्लीज बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होती है विद रिस्पेक्ट टू एंजाइम्स, विद रिस्पेक्ट टू हार्मोन्स, विद रिस्पेक्ट टू एंटीजन एंटीबॉडी कॉम्प्लेक्स. So it is proteinaceous in nature, it is specific. And one very important, the third point over here is that there are two types of hormone receptors on the cell. Okay, एक सेल में दो तरह के receptors होते हैं. The first one being membrane bound receptors. The first one is membrane bound receptors. मतलब क्या है? This receptors will be present on the surface of the cell. जो सेल होता है सेल मेम्ब्रेन के ऊपर ये प्रेजेंट होगा. So that is why it is called as membrane bound. सेल मेम्ब्रेन से जुड़ा हुआ होता है. And the second one, okay, these are intracellular. देखो, the word itself is telling us it is present intracellular, inside the cell. Intracellular receptors, which is mostly nuclear receptors. Okay, they are present on the nuclear membrane. मोस्टली बोला है. नेक्स्ट, अब वो एक्ट कैसे करते हैं. नाउ फर्स्ट थिंग इज हमको ये समझना है कि वी डिस्कस दैट देयर आर 4 टाइप्स ऑफ हार्मोन्स. एक तो है प्रोटीनेशियस अमीनो एसिड डेरिवेटिव्स होते हैं, देन वी हैव स्टेरॉइडल्स हार्मोन्स एंड देन वी हैव आइडोथायरोइड. सो एक्शन कैसा होगा? ऑल द प्रोटीनेशियस हार्मोन्स okay are going to act on membrane bound receptors, are going to act on membrane bound receptors. अब ये होता कैसे? This membrane bound receptors, okay, you have the hormone. This hormone will attach to this receptor and they will form a hormone receptor complex. Will form a hormone receptor complex. This hormone receptor complex will generate a secondary messenger. Will generate a secondary messenger, which is calcium inositol triphosphate, okay, or cyclic AMP, cyclic adenosine monophosphate. Okay, this will be generated. This is a secondary messenger, and then this secondary messengers will be able to bring out the biochemical changes, the metabolical changes, or the physiological changes. So just to give you an idea, okay, I have this, like a model of a cell over here. Okay, this is the nucleus, and this is calcium, this is cyclic AMP, and this is IP3. Okay, so they're going to serve as secondary messengers. And right now, what I have is the proteinaceous hormone. Okay, so this is a proteinaceous hormone. It could be pituitary hormone, hypothalamic hormone. तो जैसे ही ये आता है सर्कुलेशन में से, okay, it is going to go and attach to the membrane bound receptors. जैसे ही वो अटैच हो जाता है मेम्ब्रेन बाउंड रिसेप्टर से, it forms a complex. This is going to follow by the secondary messengers getting activated, and then they will bring about certain changes in the cell. Okay, this is the first mechanism. The second mechanism is with the intracellular receptors. Okay, so यहाँ पे जो hormones होते हैं, these are steroidal hormones, and this could also be your T3, T4, that is idothyrionins. Okay, they also act in the they also will act in the similar manner like the steroidal hormones. These hormones, okay, they will act with this receptor. Now remember, this receptor is present in the nucleus. They will form the hormone receptor complex, okay, and which will bring about the necessary physiological, will bring about some changes in the gene expression. Okay, they'll bring about changes in the जीन एक्सप्रेशन हो जाएगा, उसी के बाद फिर फिजियोलॉजिकल एक्सप्रेशन होगी. So just to give you an example, fine. This is T3. Okay, this is T3. Okay, so अब ये जो T3 है, सबसे पहले तो वो सेल में चला जाएगा, सेल मेम्ब्रेन को क्रॉस कर लेगा, सेल मेम्ब्रेन को क्रॉस करने के बाद वो साइटोप्लाज्म में चला जाएगा. आई एम शोइंग फ्रॉम दिस साइड. ओके, ओके, नाउ रिमेंबर, अब ये जो T3 है, ये इन सेकेंडरी मैसेंजर को कुछ नहीं करने वाला, तो ये चला जाएगा. ओके, फिर वो न्यूक्लियस के पास, ओके, जो उसका अपना रिसेप्टर होगा उसको जाके अटैच कर. Now, once it is formed, the hormone receptor complex, then inside the nucleus, we know there is DNA and there is genes. फिर वो gene expression bring out करेगा, and after the gene expression is done, whatever gene was expressed, according to that metabolic function, physiological function will be, okay. So this is with T3. I will show you with steroid also. Okay, so considering this is the steroidal hormone estrogen. Okay, O for estrogen. Again वो blood से आ गया, cell membrane को cross कर लिया, and then it is going to go and attach to the nuclear membrane. Okay, thank you. I hope you got it all.